Well, hello everybody and welcome to the first of our weekly discussion forums called Insight. With Insight, what we plan to do is bring you discussion, local topics, things of worldwide interest to the trade community, but also information about how we issue and how we deal with customers in getting standby letters of credit in place. A lot of people firstly ask us, how do we go about this process? Why do we make it so easy when the process is typically quite complex? Well, the first thing happens all around the initial information which we receive in the form of a pro forma invoice or a sales invoice. It's absolutely important that we are provided with the information on that pro forma, which is the information about the buy and the sell taking place between a buyer in one country and the exporter who is the beneficiary in another country. So the process is very simple. The first thing is we receive that particular document, and on the basis of that we start a very light touch due diligence process. We look at the processes which are taken and all the verbiage, the wording inside those particular documents, and from that we create a first draft. That goes back to the applicant, who then will give us approval, perhaps make changes, suggest amendments to that particular document, and once we receive approval from them, we then start our in-depth due diligence and compliance process. Now that means we're using artificial intelligence, we're using a great deal of commercial applications to check the validity, the authenticity of those particular documents and make sure the trade looks real. We want to ensure that the complete understanding of the document is there and that the trade can be done. We want to make sure that if it says 10,000 tons of a particular good, it is what it says it is in a particular container on a particular ship to be moved at a certain time. So our due diligence process is not just about identity of people and the indemnities that they provide and the collateral. It goes much deeper than that. We're looking at the goods and the whole of the transaction chain from the perspective of the seller all the way through to the buyer actually receiving the goods and paying for those goods. Another thing to make things very easy about the whole process is that we charge on the basis of the face value, the time and the type of instrument. So for example, if you have a letter of credit, 90-day period, and it's an at-site instrument, there'll be a percentage which is going to be demanded as fees from our side. But it's only after the due diligence process that we will ask for and generate an invoice to the applicant and fees will be paid back to us. Then we will issue a SWIFT instrument which will be sent to the beneficiary bank. And then in the background, once that's all complete and documents will be provided to us, we will then make sure that we either approve or reject those documents based on the terms and conditions inside that letter of credit. Another thing of interest that we have been providing lately is access for applicants to be able to construct their own LCs. This means we've created a commercial application which we believe is in the top in terms of capability, in terms of its authenticity of tracking all the documents, to make sure that we generate and capture everything to do with that particular trade inside the software at the point of sale. Now that means that we have less discrepancies, it's a much faster service, and we can be very competitive on our rates as well. This new application, which we called Simplex, is simple export. And we plan to make that very easy for anybody on the web to be able to access the application, upload their documents, and make sure they keep up with all the indemnity requirements that we have. Not only that, but we can then automatically generate instruments for SWIFT, which would typically take a number of days to perform. We do this within one day. So whilst we have service level agreements, we can certainly make it easier for applicants to go through the process, which is typically very long-winded in major banks, to be a very selective, fast, relationship-driven application for the applicant. So for our Simplex application, what we're doing is putting the capability in the hands of the applicant to create their instruments, to work out what the costs are going to be, and then to be able to automatically generate the SWIFT message which will go to the beneficiary bank. And in that way we've cut down what is typically a very long-winded process, sometimes taking days or even weeks at major banks, to try to get to a service level of 3 days from the point of receiving a pro forma invoice to the point of going through our due diligence process, even with the use of selfies and other types of new technology and artificial intelligence, to ensure we have the correct instrument we're able to then remit and send to the beneficiary bank. Of course, if you have questions on any of the items that we've discussed today, please feel free to look at our website, info@euroeximbank.com. We're pleased to answer your questions, not only about our rates, but of the relationships that we hold, and also the way in which we conduct our business. So yes, we are a challenger in this particular business, but it's one where we are expanding our international offices. We are speakers at international trade conferences as well, exhibitors at major banking exhibitions, and really making a mark in the trade finance arena.